Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. My name is Martin MacNamara from ProvidentCRM, and welcome to our latest webinar. Today we'll be taking an in-depth look at SugarServe. As you may be aware, particularly if you've been following our webinar series, Sugar now has a number of core products that make up the overall offering. These are SugarSell, SugarServe, and SugarMarket. And there's a further range of additional products that we'll be covering in later webinars. Some of you may have seen our webinar last week presented by my colleague Sarah, which focused on SugarSell. And today we'll be looking at SugarServe, which, as the name suggests, is more focused on the customer service aspect of a complete CRM system. So we're going to run through some of the items around service, some of the things that are important to it, some of the barriers to that, some of the objectives that SugarServe has to overcome those barriers. I'm going to show you a demo. We're going to look a bit more in depth in terms of what that looks like from an agent point of view and also a customer point of view. And then hopefully we'll have time at the end for some questions and answers then as well. So we all know how important great service is. I'm sure we've all experienced it, both good and bad service, and can appreciate as a customer the difference this makes. From a company or an organizational point of view, good service proven leads to higher customer retention, a willingness of customers to pay a premium, and makes it easier to upsell and cross-sell to other products or services that we might offer. Great service also ultimately leads to a reduced cost of business. So all positives, I'm sure you'll agree. However, there are some pretty important barriers to that success. So I just want to mention and talk about those for a moment or two, and then explain how SugarServe can help deal with those. So things like, for example, agent inefficiency. So an agent's lack of access to key data, lack of awareness of where the customer is in the customer journey, leads to a poor customer experience and potential service gaps. Delayed response. So lack of a proper SLA management means poor follow-ups and decreased customer satisfaction. Poor access to knowledge. Lack of a centralized knowledge database that limits the self-service options. And also has an impact then on first call resolution rates for agent-assisted interactions. We want to make sure that agent has access to all the information they need to resolve the case, hopefully on the first interaction they have with it. So how does Sugar address that? Some key objectives that Sugar has to address that. So improving the efficiency of the support agents by giving them access to the right information about the customer and the product or service to resolve the issue. We want to reduce the cost of service by making service easy, by allowing customers to have self-service portal access. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is build a trusting relationship with customers by providing an exceptional experience across the various channels through which the customer interacts with us. That's enough of the slides. I'm going to pause my screen share for just a moment. I'm going to switch over here now to the actual demo instance so we can show you what that looks like and actually dive here into SugarServe. Okay. So we'll show you what Serve looks like on a day-to-day basis for a customer service agent. So a customer service agent will typically perform 4 primary actions. First, they'll log in and they'll review the service console. So that's what we're looking at here. We've logged into our SugarServe instance. This is our service console, and we've got here an overview dashboard that we're looking at. So we're going to review the open cases, potentially take actions. We're going to collaborate with team members, and we're going to interact with customers. We log in, what do we see? We see an overview here of our service console. The top line here, we can see items that need action today. So open cases, planned activities, active tasks, stuff we need to deal with here and The second row down then, we can see open items, their status, some recently viewed cases, some cases that were dealt with last week, some metrics maybe that we need to keep an eye on. And then down the bottom here then, we've got some more informational overview. Again, a few key metrics that might be relevant to us. So I can drill down through any of this information, so we can click through and we can see the information behind this, and that's pretty standard Sugar functionality that you may well be familiar with from an existing instance that you have, whether it's Sugar, Cell, or another Enterprise or Pro. However, big change now with Sugar Serve over what we've had in the past is this view here of the service console. This is a more efficient way that the agent can look at their current workloads, is this cases overview. So this shows a list of cases prioritized by follow-up date. Now, what's great about this area, and this is a new feature you may not have seen before, is how we expand this info while remaining in the same screen. So I click on a case here. We can see loading up here now. We've got 4 extra windows that open up. This is similar to the renewals console that you may have seen in the Sugar Cell demo last week. So I mentioned earlier about some of the barriers to great service. So agent inefficiency is one of these. And this is a prime example of how Sugar Serve helps in this area. So we're expanding the info relating to the case, but we're staying on the same screen. So now we can see all the info, related info about this case in the one view. So we've still got our list here on the left-hand side of our cases that we're dealing with right now. But now we've got the details of the case here. We can see the case number, we can see the account it's related to, the priority, etc., some description around it. On the comment log over here, we can see any team collaboration that might be going on. Down here, we can see the account, the industry, maybe the service level that they've got. So they're tier 4. This could be custom, it could be gold, silver, platinum, whatever it might be. We can see they're related to the EMEA Business Center, and I'll talk about just mention that actually for a moment. Actually, so from a global perspective, we can set up different business centers in Serve to take account of the location of the account. So this account is in EMEA, so therefore it's assigned to the EMEA Business Center, and that just means that from a support availability, it matches to their time zone, their local holidays, that kind of stuff. And we can have different ones then globally to address different geographies. We can see then the case interactions around this particular account. So we can see when they've taken place, emails, we can see phone calls, and we can interact with those here directly with the customer, compose an email, log a call, etc. So basically we can work through close off cases quite simply here. We can see the tasks here, we can see the contact, we can see any documents associated with it, and it's all here on the one screen. And then equally then we can come back to our close this and come back to our cases here, our list of overall cases, and these are lined up by follow-up. So based on the priority that we need to do with them, they're lined up like this. So that's a simple case. We've got that overview. But what if the case is a little bit more complicated and we need to maybe deal with it in a little bit more detail? What we can do then is we can open it up in a new tab. So this then allows us maybe to drill in a little deeper into that case. So here now we're going into the case in more detail. Again, we can see all the information about it. We can see then the sub-panels down here, which show us more information. So we can see the calls related to the case when they took place, any tasks, maybe we had an internal task to try and replicate the issue, some notes maybe about the case, maybe we've seen it somewhere else. Just more information at a deeper level here on this that we can see. We can see a knowledge base article that's been added to the case. And been sent to the customer when that took place. We can see other knowledge base articles over here on the right as well. So much more in depth. Something I just want to touch on while we're here as well. There's a new sub panel which you may not have seen before. It's not related to handling the case as such, but it's just important from a reporting point of view. So we've got this change timers here. I'll just expand that out now so you can see what I'm talking about. Just this, lose this there. So change timers. So what this does, this automatically records the amount of time that a case spends in each particular status. So between open, close, resolved, etc., it's giving us an accurate time for how long the case spent in that particular status. So we can see here the hours that a case spent in the particular pending input status, in this case closed. But the clever thing as well is it's not just the number of hours, but it's also translating into business hours, which is clearly quite different. So your 109 hours or 31 business hours, big difference there. Again, this one 33 hours or 3 business hours, quite different. This is important because it's providing greater and more reliable information for reporting against our overall efficiency. So when it comes to matching SLA information and that kind of stuff, that's really important there. So I said it's not relevant maybe to dealing with a case as such per se, but it's important overall, and instead as a new feature as part of SugarServe that I thought I'd just touch on while we're there. So one of the other items that I mentioned at the beginning that are barriers to delivering great service are poor access to knowledge. So let's have a look at our knowledge base. This is, as we're dealing with a customer, we need some knowledge about the potential solutions to their issue. So in our conversation or email, we need to have access to answers to their problems. These answers are provided in the knowledge base that we can see here. This is a repository of all the knowledge base articles that we have. It's split by category, by most useful article, and it updates dynamically, and of course it's fully searchable too. So we can see here on the right, we can see the knowledge base categories, published articles. We've got a list of them here. We can see some of the most useful ones here as well. So I'm going to go into knowledge base. I'm going to search for something to help me with a case that I'm dealing with. So the case I have, just an example, it could be anything. My case is about how to modify the volume on a smart speaker. Obviously, it could be anything related to your specific industry, but let's just go with that for the moment. So I'm going to search for that. So it's how to modify, oh, there we go, how to modify volume of smart speaker. Perfect, that's what I want. So I can click into this. And here's my knowledge base article relating to that case. I can see when it was published, who it was published by, I can see it's current, I can see it's an active document. I can see it's been useful in the past, 100% useful, that's pretty good. And then I can give it a thumbs up or thumbs down here, useful, not useful, which again is useful in terms of feeding back and making this article more available to people who search for this issue. So that's important what we've got. So once I've got this case, this knowledge base article, sorry, then I can take action with it. I can share it, I can copy it, I can send an email to the customer with it, I can discuss it on the phone, whatever makes sense. But it's giving me that access to that knowledge that I need to resolve the case. Now, so what we've discussed so far, really quickly, I appreciate, but just trying to give you an overview, is an individual user dealing with open cases, seeing the history of those cases, and finding and communicating that resolution to the customer. What about, though, an overview for a supervisor or manager? So let me show you what that could look like. So as a supervisor or manager, I'm not dealing on a kind of list of cases that I'm dealing with day to day. I maybe need to have a broader picture of things. So here I can see all the cases in the system at the moment. It's currently listing 20. I can expand that further. We can see there's actually 1,019 cases in here at the moment. And then I can search for particular cases. Maybe I need to see, maybe I need to keep an eye on a particular case. It's a particular high priority one, a particularly important customer, maybe something like that. So the case I'm looking for is 113. I can just type in 113, and here comes up that case there, and I can drill into it then and see what's going on with it, see what the latest is with it, see that it's being handled with, and just keep an eye on that if I need to. Just come back here then for a second again. Another option that I might have is maybe there's a range of cases I need to keep an eye on. So I can filter. So in this case, I filtered by favorites. So these, again, they could be particularly high profile cases that I've been asked to keep an eye on, or maybe they're a difficult customer or a particular issue that we're trying to identify. So I can bring those up here, and I can see them from here. So that's just my favorites one. There's other filters I can use. So recently created, for example, recently viewed, or of course, we can create a filter. So whatever particular criteria we have to find a filter, maybe it's by date, maybe it's by user, maybe it's by priority, whatever it is, we can look for it here. So we can see that. So that's one aspect from a manager supervisor point of view that's quite useful. Another option that we can do then as well is we can look at them from a different perspective. So this is a list view, but we've also got then tile view. So again, this is new. You may have seen something similar in the Sugar Cell webinar last week relating to opportunities. So this is how we can see a Kanban view effectively of all the cases against their current status, and then we can easily move them around and change their status just by dragging and drop them there. So it's quite a nice kind of overview. You can see that saved there straight away. It's really simple. So that just gives us a different way of seeing our cases and what's open at the moment. And again, we can still filter, we can still see our favorites. There we go. I can see them and I can see what status they're at a quick overview. So that's a nice little overview that we have there as well. What else can we do? Again, from a supervisor management point of view, we don't just have to look at the cases and deal with them, but maybe we need to report on them. Maybe we've got to report to management. So we've got the reporting module. We've got, sorry, before I go into reporting, I'm actually going to show you, we've got a dashboard. So let's just see, here's a supervisor dashboard that we set up. So again, these are just particular KPIs or metrics that I've chosen that might be relevant for me. So I can see average response times, number of cases opened, how we're doing against some SLAs, that kind of stuff. And again, we can drill down and we can see the information behind them. And we can edit this, we can change it around, we can drag these over and back and change the layout of them. Really simple, nice and easy to do. What drives these, this dashboard are reports. So these dashlets, these individual dashlets here are different by the reports behind them. So we have a look at what's possible there. So these are just 4 that I've picked out, but there's lots of others. So we look in the reporting module. So in the reporting module, we've got, I think it's somewhere around about 100 report templates that we can use. So we can run reports from here. We can open a report. We can run the report. We can schedule it. We can edit it. We can copy it. We can change it. We can export it, print it, whatever we want to do to give us an easy way of reporting on whatever metrics or SLAs or things that we need. So that's quite a useful tool there. And I said there's about 100 reports in there. Once we've got a report that we like, then we can add to our dashboard, or again we can print it, we can email it, we can do whatever we want at that point. Another area that I'd like to cover, excuse me, is just around automation and SLA management for cases. Again, this could be relevant from more management or supervisor point of view, but we'll just look at that for a moment. So process definitions. So this is where I can design and configure the rules and alerts that dictate how a case is handled, taking into account the priority level, type of customer, etc. So let's just have a look. So these are the ones that we've got currently set up. They're disabled at the moment, but that's just this is a demo instance. Excuse me. So I'm going to just go into this one here and show you what that looks like. So this is a workflow that's been set up to handle a case, from it being opened, being assigned to an agent, taking into account the relevant SLA level, and then dynamically creating follow-ups or alerting or escalating as required. So we can see a new case. It's gone into an SLA process depending upon maybe the customer or the type of case, or whether it's a high priority or whatever it is. It's been assigned by round robin, and then from there, then the case details have been provided to that agent that's been assigned the case. And then we can follow through against that SLA in terms of whatever time prompts there are, or date prompts, or whatever might be. And we can notify managers, we can escalate it if required. We can set some timers for prompting next actions. Are we waiting for a client response possibly? If we don't get a response, is it closed? We can end the case there. Normally we'd send out a message saying, look, we haven't heard back from you, please let us know, we're going to close it out. And again, that can happen automatically. So this is where we design that process. It's really simple to do. And once we've got it set up, then we can put that in place and run it and have it running. So as I said, there's a number of cases set up there already, but we can design them quite simple. It's a nice, easy, visual way of doing that. So we've looked at an agent level briefly and a supervisor level in terms of what SugarServe can do for us. What about from an end user, from a customer point of view? That's what it's supposed to be all about. So I mentioned earlier about customers having access, self-service access. So this is, just go back to the home screen here. Ooh, it's logged me out. Putting it back in. Yes, okay, cool. Slight technical issue there for a second. Okay, so yeah, self-service access. This is provided by the SugarServe portal, which we can see here. From here, the end user, that could be a consumer business, can raise a case, search for knowledge base articles, and see recently resolved cases. So, for example, a user. Okay, I've got a problem with setting up email on my current device. So I'm going to start typing email in there, and it's going to start showing me relevant articles from the knowledge base. So this is the same knowledge base that the agent has, but we're providing that access to the user here directly. So I can see the results of the query here straight away. I can see, configuring personal email for common providers. I can click into that. It's going to bring me to that knowledge base article. And it's giving me step-by-step instructions to resolve my issue. So nice and simple. I haven't had to wait on the phone. I haven't had to wait on a live chat. I haven't had to type a long email. I've just searched for the issue that I have. I've been served up step-by-step instructions to resolve my issue, and it's got all the information that I need here. And again, similar to earlier on, the way I showed you, down the bottom here again, we can click a useful, not useful, and that feeds back into our database and makes that article more highly rated, more relevant. So that's one example of how a customer can resolve their issue themselves directly. Nice and quick, nice and simple. Not always going to be the answer, though, obviously. So what other options do we have? Well, we can raise a case. So I'll log into my portal, create case, and start filling in the details here. So let's just say, I don't know, I've got a problem, changing my user's password. Okay, so brief description, I cannot get my users to update the change their passwords. You know, that can be more information. I can see, but just as an example, it's a new case. Clearly, it's high priority because it's pretty important, because if they don't have their passwords, they can't log in. So great. I've filled in the details here of my case. I've saved my case. Successfully created, and here we go. Now I can see 1020. That's my case number, high priority. I can just click on the preview button here, see that it's been created. Yep, created today. The description that I filled in, perfect. So again, nice and simple. No waiting on the phone, no waiting on live chat. I can see my case has been raised. I don't have a resolution for it yet, because it's obviously a bit more complicated than just searching for a knowledge base article, but at least I feel I'm on the track to getting it resolved. Okay. Now, how does that look like from the agent's point of view? Well, let's have a look. So we'll go back here into cases, And we're now back in here as an agent in SugarServe. And then we can see here now, look at there, 1000 case number 1020, problem changing my user's passwords. Lovely. So here's our case. I can see it here. I can see the account that's raised it. I can see it's high priority. It's new. It's followed through that round robin allocation, and it's been allocated to Jim. Okay. I can click on the preview here, and I can see all the information about it, when it was raised, so on and so forth. So let's try and resolve this case now, if we can. So here's my case. Now it's automatically, as it happens, based on the description of the problem. I've got here a most useful published knowledge base article. Perfect. Changing a user's password. Great. That's just the solution I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link that to the record. So changing a user's password. There it is. And I'm going to add the knowledge base to the case. That's linked in here. That'll get sent to the customer automatically. I'm going to change my status. I'm going to say closed, save that, done. So really quickly there, we've gone from the customer raising the case in the portal, the service agent seeing the case, finding the information, finding the relevant knowledge base article, sending it to the customer, and resolving it. It's automatically notified to the user who raised it, saved, done. Okay. Let me just pause here again for a second because I need to switch to another screen. So just give me a moment. Okay. So look, I've fairly flown through this today, and apologies, there's a lot of information in it, obviously. It's a nice day here where I am, so I hope it is nice where you are too, and we can all get back out and enjoy it sometime this afternoon. We've covered a lot in the brief period, showing you some of the new features that SugarServe offers and how it can help improve agent efficiency, improve response times, provide the knowledge to both the agent and the end user to resolve cases as efficiently as possible. I've shown you the service console and the new, more efficient view that provides, how we can manage SLAs against customers and accounts, the reporting capabilities, the end user portal, the knowledge base, and hopefully you can see how that all ties together and provides a better service to that end user to resolving those issues. So it didn't take as long as we expected. We've got a bit of time left. I covered as well the reporting. You saw the analytics, the reporting. We've seen the knowledge management, the history, etc. We've seen the out-of-the-box templates we've got for managing stuff. That's all I've got in terms of presenting on the on SugarServe itself. But obviously we've got a bit of time, so I'm going to check and just see, do we have a few questions? So let me just have a look here now and see what questions we've had raised in the meantime. Yes, okay, so pricing. Good question, pretty relevant. So list price for SugarServe is £768 per user per year. That's the list price. You can see that on the Sugar website. If you're an existing customer of Sugar, whether it's Sugar Cell, Sugar Enterprise, Sugar Pro, whatever it might be, then there are upgrade prices available. So depending upon your current subscription, it dictates what that price is. There's some pretty good deals to upgrade to this. So get in touch with either myself or your account manager, and we can discuss those options with you to do that. Okay, what else do we have? Let me just check here again. And if you've got any questions, do feel free to add them in the chat there at the moment, and I'll do my best to get to them. Okay, can I brand the portal? Yes, good question. Yeah, absolutely. We can brand the portal to match your company logo, your colors, etc. So it looks like an extension of your brand and your website. That's pretty easy to do. It's easily managed actually from the studio functionality within SugarServe. So it's quite simple to do, not hard at all, but quite useful. Just gives you that nice look and feel to it. So that's easily managed. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, we have another one here. Can I combine sell and serve? Yeah, another good question. Yeah, so you might, let me think about that use case. You might want to have, for example, salespeople who have Sugar Sell and the function that provides specific to their role. And then maybe at the same time, you've got customer service people who need serve to match with their role. So you can combine both options within a company specific to the user role. So you can have whatever number of sell licenses you need and whatever number of serve licenses. And you could also, if required, combine those. So if you've got, I don't know, a supervisor or manager and they need to have access, or maybe a salesperson and they want to see both the sales side and also the serve side, we can combine a license together as well. So if you do want that, let us know, talk to us about that, and we'll have a look at the pricing and what that looks like for that. But that's absolutely possible and quite common to have the two of them across an organization. Okay, that looks like about it in terms of questions for the moment. If you do have additional questions, obviously today, tomorrow, whenever it is, you can contact myself or you can contact your account manager. Please get in touch. We'll be sharing a recording of the webinar by email, so look out for that. Keep an eye out as well. We'll have more webinars coming up. Our next one, I think, is covering Sugar Market, which is a pretty good product, and again, one of the new ones, so look out for that one. That will be in a couple of weeks' time, I think. Look out for that. If there's no further questions at this stage, a little shorter than we expected, but that's probably no harm. Thanks again for your time, and look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Thanks a million.